What's up, everybody? Back at you with another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I promise not to disappoint you. Hit the like button, trying to get them likes up. Leave a comment, share the video. I think we got a really good one on tonight. You know, some people the other day were a little, saying a few things about the Muslim brother that was on, but look, man, this is real. This is raw. These are the people that, have experienced this life. If they didn't, they wouldn't be on the show. So anyway, got a guy on from Jersey. I got a real good friend from Jersey, Dog. You guys read about him in the book or heard about him. So definitely got love for Jersey. Joe, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and tell us why you ended up in prison.
Hey, family. My name's Joe Lynch, and I'm 36 from the Jersey Shore. And I ended up going to prison for 31 months out of a 3-year bid for burglary and weapons.
31-month bid, but you definitely have been through some stuff in there too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I seen the channel. I watch it, obviously, and a lot of people are on these big bids, which, I mean, one day is too long to be locked up. But I've seen so much in my almost 3 years that I couldn't even imagine 18, 15, 20, 30 years. It's wild. Stuff happens really fast and out of nowhere, and you'd be surprised. It could happen in the nicest prisons.
At one point in your bid, we'll get to the details in a minute, though. But I want the people to know, at one point you got stabbed in prison 7 times or something, right?
Yes, sir. I was stabbed 7 times in my back, and I thought the kid was hugging me. And I actually thought, sorry, my tooth fell out. That's from prison too. We'll get into that. I actually thought
hold on, Joe. This thing is real and it's raw, bro, but it's all right. Go.
Yeah, I thought he was hugging me and just punching me like a little rabbit. That's the adrenaline was pumping, and 7 times in my back.
So I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. You're from the Jersey Shore. You know Snooki or any of them over there?
I know. I've met later in life Mike and Ronnie, but I do know Sammy a tiny bit. Her little sister. Like, I know some of the same people.
Oh, good. So anyway, what was your life like, man, growing up over there?
Man, it's a nice little beach town. It's more where I live, lower middle class, but it was fun. Had the beach, batting cages, boardwalk, water slide, bikes, jumps, everything. But there's trouble if you want to get in trouble. A lot of fighting with hands, not killings and stuff. But there's rough areas over here too. But I had a great childhood, and I chose to try to search out the wrong path. I had good parents who loved me, tried to give me everything.
Just out of curiosity, what did your parents do for a living?
My mother was a teacher's aide at first, and then my father worked for Port Authority, PATH Trains, was a conductor, and had unlimited overtime back in the day. So
definitely not a bad upbringing, but you end up getting involved in crime, right? And I know you go to prison. Tell the people what you were doing, man. Burglarizing, what you were stealing.
All right. Well, we started burglarizing houses. We were targeting drug dealers at first, but then we kind of ran out because it wasn't like there's a shit ton that we weren't friends with. So we started robbing houses that we thought had guns and found out people that we knew had guns so we could sell them up in Newark. I'm actually going to take this out for the interview so you kids could see you could lose teeth in jail. We'll get to that story too. So
with 31 months, man, it seems like you've been through it, bro. I mean, I ain't never had no one take their teeth out, but it's all good, man.
Yeah, no, it's just I don't have the stuff to push it in. So if it helps anyone, I know if you're a pretty boy, don't go to jail because you're gonna get scarred up if you're not, you know what I mean? If you're lucky, you might skate through. But
so anyway, you get involved in stealing weapons, stealing guns. Are you getting high? Is that the reason you were stealing shit?
I was partying, but it wasn't like a strung out thing. But I was doing too much partying at first, but it wasn't like a dependency. You know what I mean?
Partying like what? What type of drugs?
I was doing heavy drugs. There was a lot of cocaine involved. We would drink heavily. From like 17 through 22, It's a party town, but OxyContin was heavy. We were taking oxys at night, and if we couldn't sleep from the coke binges, but we would work, steal, party, and spend too much money. We'd go to the strip club, sneak in. Down here there was some bars you could get in pretty much at any age as long as you didn't look fucking 12, freaking 12. Sorry about the mouth, but yeah, we would just unnecessarily party like rock stars half the time.
And you're out stealing these guns. You end up getting arrested. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I burglarized the house that was right up the street, and cops came. I seen them out the window. They left. Everything was good. I'm waiting for my ride. Now, my ride was someone who took me before, also participated in stealing guns from other people's houses. We would bring him to the same spot in Newark. Well, he's taking forever, and I'm calling his phone. He's not answering. Next thing you know, I hear a beep beep. So I'm like, oh, he's here. Well, I go out my front door, and I live on the corner, and the beep came from the side. Well, I went to turn the corner, and there was a cop right there. And as soon as I went to turn around and run, I had it in a book bag. He grabbed me up, and I had everything on me. So it wasn't like, and also though, I want to say the cops aren't your friends. Don't tell them anything. I didn't know. I was an adult, but I've never really been in trouble with the law. So I volunteered too much information on myself with the situation. You know what I mean? That could have went really bad. Luckily, I had a good public defender, but don't tell them anything. Get a lawyer.
So what are you sentenced to?
I ended up getting sentenced to a 3 with a 1. So 3 years with 1 year stint automatic. I have to do a 1 year no matter what before I go see the parole board. And everyone told me, oh, you've never been in trouble before. They're going to parole you. Well, no. When I did go see the parole board, they gave me a 14-month hit. So
How old
I
were
had
you
to
at the
max
time
out my bid.
when you walked into prison? How old were you?
I was 25, and I went to a youth correctional facility at first, Annandale, Mountain View in New Jersey, and I was one of the older people in the jail. There were some kids calling me grandpa. Imagine that. I'm 25, and some kids are like, "Yo, pops, grandpa." Yeah,
Wow.
it was
So
wild.
you go to, were you a little bit worried going?
You know what? I was and I wasn't. I I wasn't worried, especially because of the fact that, like I said, I joined the Latin Kings, and when I got there, I went to meet in with the people of the organization, and it comes back that the person I joined Latin Kings with was no good. So technically, I wasn't even in the organization. So that put a little damper on things, what I thought. But the stories I heard about the place I was going, everyone said it was sweet, like college. I'll be fine. Well, it's all dorms with over 100 people in the one dorm when you first get in there, and 100 rowdy kids in a dorm with no babysitter. You can imagine there's a lot of fun that goes down, but a lot of people got hurt. I got into a bunch of stuff as well, but I've seen people life flighted out of there at 19 years old for pretty much no reason over books of stamps, someone talking about someone's mother. Now, yes, if someone talks about my mom, I'm going to punch you in the face, but I'm not going to stab you 30 times. You know what I mean? And I've seen the one kid get a whole locker of books dropped on his head off of a top bunk by 3 people, picked up a locker and dropped them on his head after he's already knocked out. And they had to life flight him out of there because his head swelled up like a balloon.
I remember seeing something recently. You probably seen it probably about a month and a half or 2 months, about a month and a half or 2 months ago, where these dudes in Jersey State Prison, they like hit this kid in the head with a microwave, and they jump on his
Yeah,
head.
yeah. I seen a little about it. I know what you're talking about though. Yes, that stuff goes down, man.
Really not a nice place. So you said you joined the Latin Kings. Do you join the Latin Kings in prison? You join them in the street? How's that
I
out?
joined the Latin Kings on the street, and before I went to prison, I was about 14 when I started seeking and being pretty much what you would call a prospect. I was trying to earn my crown, and then 15 when I actually became a member, which, like I said, turned out that my GF, who is like what someone would say a big homie, I guess, wasn't even official. So technically, neither was I, and I found that out in prison.
So you're a young kid. You join the Latin Kings. What made you want to join the Latin Kings, bro?
I liked how they had structure. And to be dead honest, everything I knew about them at that time, it was like ran like the mafia. And the area I grew up in, if you're white, it's mostly like Polish and Irish. A lot of Irish. I'm Irish, half Polish. But the Irish always talk shit to the Italians. Italians talk back as kids, especially. And I didn't get along with a lot of the Italian kids. So, but I liked the mafia idea. You know what I mean? So I was like, hey, it's the next best thing. And down where I'm at, there's a lot of white Latin kings and all the Puerto Ricans and stuff that I knew that were in it. They were all cool, man. It's very welcoming people, Latin people. You know what I mean? Some of the Mexican kids that were. So it was a tight family, and it wasn't anything too crazy, but I felt that thrill of, like I said, I was searching out bad. That like, yeah, I'm doing something. You know what I mean? So
So they were all accepting, or were there ever any people that were like, "Ah, this dude's white"? You ever experienced
yeah,
that?
absolutely. There at first here on the streets, they were accepting, but then later on, as I got older, and especially when I found out my guy wasn't legit, and they still wanted me to become part of the nation. There was a lot of hate coming towards me. You know what I mean? That I was white, that I didn't know some of the prayers in Spanish, some of the laws in Spanish, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of, not a whole lot, but it was definitely there. There was animosity there, and they would definitely look to try to pick and choose. Like they might turn a blind eye on a Latino person doing something they're not supposed to, where they might get a small violation. Whereas they would definitely seek out to try to find me do something so I could write a 5,000 word essay, not necessarily violation as getting beat up or having to fight, but we would have to do a lot of like community service type deal, or write an essay on why we did something, you know, stuff like that.
So when you get involved in the Latin King Nation, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you get involved? Do you get jumped in? I mean, do you have to do something to be a part of that? How does that work?
Well, how I became was I had to learn a bunch of prayers, and I had a eye kept on me by a couple people who were my main guy, who was my GF, and I was his pup, you know what I mean, and a couple of his friends. But I had to learn a bunch of prayers. I had to learn the laws, and I had to I won't say everything, you know, because I'm still cool with people, and I ended up later joining the organization. But I had to learn a lot of prayers, learn the history, the knowledge, and I had to say everything whenever they said like spit out the Lord's Prayer, or spit out this, spit out that. I would have to say it right then and there with no mistakes. Um, right then and there in a circle people, and I had to hold my hands in a certain formation to form their crown. And if they broke it while I was saying it, I would have to start over. If they broke it twice, I was out. But they never broke it when I was doing it.
So it was nothing like a blood in, blood out type of thing.
No, no, nothing like that. But I have heard of instances like that, especially more in like the Chicago area and Midwest, and then down south as well.
Yeah,
But
we won't get into that stuff, but
yeah,
I
no, I
I just wanted to
understand.
know about how it worked for you in Jersey, being you were a white kid joining the Latin Kings or whatever. So we're gonna go back to
Understand.
prison now. Let's go back to prison, all right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
at the beginning of the video, I mean, you spit your teeth out, bro. I mean, this is a first, right? Um,
Yeah, sorry.
and you get stabbed in prison, and you get pretty
Yes,
messed
sir.
up, right? Let's talk about that stuff. Tell me why you
Okay.
got stabbed and how that happened.
All right. So, like I said, my first prison I went to was Annandale in New Jersey, and I was up on the compound when you first get there. I got into a couple fights up there, but it wasn't anything major. I ended up getting moved down to the camps there, the minimum. Like my status got lowered. I've never been in trouble or nothing, you know. So they lowered my points. I was able to go down to the camps, and when I get to the camps, uh, I noticed right away within a few days that there's like a couple groups of these white kids that were like dorky, normal white kids that shouldn't get in trouble but did something stupid. They probably got caught with weed. This is before it was decriminalized and stuff. And everybody would pick on them, try to extort them, take their stuff, just like smack them and just belittle these kids. And there was this black kid that kept he was a Crip, I believe, and he kept really like picking on him. So and at this point I found out I wasn't technically Latin King, so I didn't even, when I got moved to the camps, I figured I'll take care of this when I get home. I'll talk to my other people, you know, I won't even try to, they were trying to get me to join while I was there. you know? And I said, no, I'm good. I'll take care of this back on the streets. I'll call my people that I know and get this situated. So I stepped in and I asked him to leave the kid alone. I said, why don't you leave him alone, you know? And he started hitting me with the honky this and cracker, like, go mind your business. And I let, I told him to S my D in front of the whole day room. You could hear a pin drop. Nobody did anything at that point. Well, a couple days later at nighttime, I hear, hey, Bunky, jump up. They're coming. And as soon as I jump up and get out of the bunk, there was a couple of them there. He waited till nighttime, I guess, when the COs left, and ran in my dorm. And I jumped off the bunk and I went to hit him and he grabbed me. And I thought, great, he grabbed me because I know how to grapple and wrestle. I was a lot bigger than him. And when he grabbed me, I felt 7 times on my back. It felt like nothing, Chad. I promise you. It literally felt like my little cousin was punching me like nothing. So I'm fighting with him. I get him off me. I start kicking him. And then now there's like 6 people on 6 people. I don't even know where everyone came from. Some people from my dorm got my back. People from other dorms ran in because I did have some friends while I was there. A couple of people I knew from the streets were in there and they joined organizations, but different gangs and stuff. And so there ended up being a big fight in my dorm. I'm fighting people. Cops come in, break everything up. Well, they put us on lockdown till the next day, and internal affairs were going to come in. Nobody went down. Nobody got put behind the wall that night. Nothing. Because that night, 2 kids decided to escape from the prison. They walked off the camps. So everybody had to stay on their bunk. They didn't want any movement. And so I'm laying in my bunk, stabbed up, and I noticed I was stabbed afterwards. I felt it running. I thought it was sweat, and then I seen all the blood. And about 2 hours after the incident, I noticed that it was a little difficult breathing, but nothing too bad. But I hocked up a loogie in the bathroom, and it was like jelly. It was blood in there. So he ended up piercing my lung. It didn't collapse, but he ended up piercing my lung. And then later, after prison, I just want to say this: I got X-rays, and also one of my ribs was cracked too, but I didn't know at the time. But they didn't send in no nurse, nothing like that, anything. I didn't see medical at all.
You didn't see medical at all. Is that because you didn't ask to see medical, or you just were like,
No, I wasn't gonna ask to see medical because they already started asking who did this to you, and I don't know, sir. It just happened. It happened.
So the cops
And
know that this happened, and they don't call medical at all.
no, because they found out right when this was going on. I guess they found out 2 people walked off. So
They could have
that was
left
a
you.
little.
They could have left you in there, and you could have died from internal bleeding. I've seen it done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Luckily, it wasn't bad. I was young. I healed up. I got moved the next day to Southern State Prison, and I did see medical when I got to Southern State. And all they did was gave me a drink. They made me inhale this stuff, like put a mask on. I guess it was like a mist water spray, and I ended up hocking up some more jelly stuff. And then they put some glue on my back and some band-aids, gave me antibiotics, and they said if I have any problems or whatever, come back.
So you go
And
back to the unit. You just got stabbed over here. You go back to the unit. Is there any more
I was,
beef?
I didn't even leave my dorm. I was in my dorm when all this happened. I got stabbed in my dorm. I never even went in the day room.
So
So
you never leave.
yeah,
So I mean, where's the dude that stabs you? Is he just walking around now?
I guess after that big commotion and the cops came in, people scattered. They turned the lights on, like because the lights are on, but they're dim. Bright lights went on, and everybody scattered. You know what I mean? And a couple people probably got what happened to me. They kind of roughed me up a little bit, pushed me to my bunk, had me get on my bunk. You know, they ended up locking us down because, like I said, 2 people ran off. So it
There
was
was there a round two?
no, we everybody was on lockdown, and I ended up moving prisons 12 hours after. They shipped about 30 of us out. It had nothing to do with that event. While they shipped us out, they shipped us out because Internal Affairs came in, and because those 2 kids escaped, and apparently they were white kids, so mostly white kids were targeted, or people that they thought hung out next to the 2 kids that escaped, and they moved us to further areas. They moved us from North Jersey all the way down to South Jersey.
If you didn't move, if you didn't leave that night, what do you think would have happened? You think this would have escalated?
It would have escalated. I probably would have tried to kill one of them, honestly.
How many dudes was it on you? Just the one, or was there more?
It was about three, but two real little guys and one guy smaller than me that I was grabbed up. They were behind me. The guy that was hugging me was stabbing me. They were just punching me in the head. I had some knots on my head. I think my lip was split. Uh, Maybe some red marks. That was about it.
So the guy, in the terms that you used, S&D, is he the
Yeah,
guy that was stabbing you? The guy that you told that to?
yeah, that's the guy who stabbed me. And I thought I seen him one day in Trenton. I was in the halfway house, and I thought I seen him. And I asked the lady that was bringing us from the halfway house to the AA meeting when I first got out of prison from this whole bid, and I asked her to stop at the store that I thought I seen him, and she wouldn't stop. But I really think it was him. I'm kind of glad she didn't stop because he could have had a weapon on him there too, you know.
So really, man, it might have been a blessing that you left that night because you might have died if you stayed there.
No, very well could have been, and especially because, like I said, it turned out that my GF or whoever for the Latin Kings wasn't legit, so it made me not legit at that moment in time. That might have played a factor against me real bad too, because you know how politics go as well. Because then people were saying he's false claiming stuff like that, which wasn't true because certain situations.
Listen, there's some Latin Kings down there that you get along with, that you're cool with, even if you're not, quote unquote, an official Latin King at that moment of time. Yeah. I mean, listen, bro, politics out the window, bro. You're my homeboy. I kick it with you. I don't care. I don't give a shit, dude. If I see three dudes stabbing you and jumping you, I'm trying to help you, bro. No one came to aid you. None of these guys you were supposedly cool with.
No, because all right, here's the deal. I was at the camps, right? And there's there's a big day room. There's two sides. There's two buildings, two sides to each building, and there's 6 dorms on each side. So there was 14 to 18 people on each dorm. I was in my dorm. I only talked to two kids in my dorm. The kid below me was a real small Muslim kid. He got involved. He was the one who woke me up and said they're coming, and he got involved. And if he would have been able to, like, if it didn't happen like this, and those kids didn't escape too because he got involved, I think it would have been a total different story because I would have had the Muslims on my side. Because he was like number 2 for the Muslims, even though they were younger kids. He was like second in command, I guess. However their car goes, so to say.
Let's talk about your tooth, man. You spit your tooth out, man, which is like, I don't mean to laugh, dude, but I mean,
no.
Listen,
No,
Joe, I got to tell you the truth. I was a little shocked. So tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, the tooth actually happened in Nashville. I told you about how I ended up going to jail in Nashville for about 9 months. And
yeah, don't play with that. Hey, listen, don't play with that thing while we're on here, but just tell us about it.
It's out. 2020, I went to end of 2019, I went to jail in Nashville for 9 months. And I got into a fight in the bathroom with 2 people. And the one kid punched me, and it was wet. Someone just took a shower, and I slipped and smacked my face, and it knocked out one of my teeth. And when they were pulling it out, because it knocked it down to the root, they ended up breaking off another one. So I ended up losing 2 teeth over one situation. It happened in the jail, and they gave me a partial for it. But I didn't like the feeling of the full plate on the roof of my mouth. So I just have this little dinky partial. And if I don't have the polydent stuff, it'll go flying. And I don't have any on me right now.
It's all right. Listen, man, what'd you end up fighting for in Nashville? Hold on a second. Hold on. How the hell did you end up in Nashville?
Okay, so I moved to Nashville. I had a buddy of mine who moved down to Nashville. Found a bunch of found work, was doing great. Jersey, it's a toxic place in our area. So I decided to go down there and start working and, try to change my life a little bit. I was getting in a little more trouble up here, but I started hanging out with some knuckleheads again. So I went down to Nashville and I changed. I was hanging out with different people. I was doing a total different thing for about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. And then I started going to the bar and hanging out with some rowdy younger kids and ended up getting in trouble for drunk driving. And one of the kids in my car threw a prescription of Xanax on the floor that had the label peeled off. So I got in trouble for having Xanax in the car. And I did about 9 months, and then I had to do 90 days in like program afterwards. So I did a year.
So what do you end up fighting for in the county jail down there for? What's that about?
Because all right, so after my prison bid and before I moved to Nashville, I got everything situated with the Latin King thing, and I got a new GF, and I joined the Latin Kings again, but I joined under a different faction, the New York Bloodline faction. And when I went down there, I made it known what I was because I already talk different. So people Yankee this, and they have little cliques in there. It's different than Jersey County Jail and different than Jersey prisons. What I'm used to being locked up, it's more segregated as far as gangs down there. It's not as many just people hanging out with people. Like the Hoovers stuck to the Hoovers, the GDs stuck to GDs, Vice Lords, this, and Mexicans like the Serenos and MS-13 and Brown Pride stuck together. And I let it be known that I was Latin King down there. And I got into several fights being a Yankee in the South, a white boy, and Latin King. So I was fighting quite a bit down there because I didn't like how things were being run. And they picked on the weak down there and would try to steal people's stuff all the time. And people were afraid to order their commissary. And I order a full bag every week, no matter where I go. And I would dare people to try to take my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, don't take kindness for weakness. I'm a great guy. I think everything should be fair. I
Let me
don't
ask
I
you
don't like
this.
that bully shit.
Let me ask you this, Joe. So the dudes you're fighting, what are they? White dudes that don't like you because you're a white Latin King?
I fought two white guys. I fought a couple GDs. I fought about 7 5 Deuce Hoovers and Rolling 60 Hoovers, or Rolling 60 Crips. Sorry. So I got in like 8 fights.
I'm talking about the tooth incident. Who were you fighting about the tooth?
Oh, that was I was fighting a Brown Pride guy and an MS-13 guy because they beef with the Latin Kings real bad.
I'm gonna tell you something, right? Because some people are like, "Why do you fought all these people?" I know dudes like you. I've been in prison with guys like you, right? And I believe you. I believe your story. And the reason I believe you is because you're one of them guys who are kind of like a nice dude, but you always attract problems for some reason. They find you.
And that's true. But I'll share what I spoke with you. I like to joke around a lot and have a good time. It makes time pass by. However, you got to keep that respectful. You don't say certain words. And just because me and you, Chad, are joking around doesn't mean Timothy sitting next to you could joke with me the same way if I don't talk to him. So people I want to just put this out for people watching that might go to jail or getting ready to go or are waiting for sentencing. If you're a joking type of guy, don't open the doors for everybody. And if you're joking with someone and someone tries to butt in and joke with you and you're not comfortable, let them be known right off the bat before it gets too far. Listen, there's no doors open like that between me and you. Me and him are cool. We're not like that. No offense, no hard feelings. Just let's keep it respectful and different between us.
I've seen people say stuff like that to people, right? They're like, "Yo, look, man, just because me and him are playing, man, don't mean me and you are cool like that. Don't play with me like that." And I see that stuff. And you know what? When you say that to someone, I've seen it get worse. I've seen it escalate like that. Man, who you talking to? Now, hold on. You embarrass the dude, right, in front of other people, like, "Yo, don't talk to me like that, homeboy." And now it pops off. You ever have that happen?
That's where most of the fights came from, Chad. You just nailed the nail on the head. That's pretty much where most of them, if it wasn't because of my affiliation or someone thinking I was weak because I was white, because down in Nashville, they like to think white boys are weak, unless you're a crazy white boy in their eyes. Then they're like, "Yo, don't fuck with him." But you have to prove that point, But yeah, that's where most of them came if it wasn't because of my affiliation.
What's more dangerous, Tennessee jails or Jersey jails?
County jail wise, Tennessee. Tenfold.
Why is it more dangerous?
There's a lot more shady. Well, in the dorm situation, I was in a dorm situation down there as well in the jail. And a lot of thieves, a lot of robbery, a lot of shady situations going on.
Sometimes men conduct themselves like men, and other people don't always do that, right? When they're sneak thieving, they're stealing people's stuff. You talked about a dorm. I want the people to know that you were living in an open dorm where they're not cells. They're just a bunch of bunk beds. Your shit's out in the open. You fall asleep, someone can steal your stuff, right?
Absolutely, Chad. I was in an open dorm in Nashville, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 32. About 48 people that would be in there any given time. Some people come and go, sometimes less. I also got attacked in my sleep in Nashville. If you look up, man slices boss's throat on the computer, you'll see a picture of the kid who was a schizophrenic, high on meth, thought I was talking to him, but I was sleeping with the covers over my head, jumped on my bunk and started choking me in my sleep. And he got it. He probably got it worse. The worst that I've ever put hands on somebody, hands alone in jail. I ended up doing 30 days on bunk lockdown because they didn't send me to the prison over there is locked down, so they would have to send you somewhere else. They kept me on in bunk suspension, so I got my food brought to me. I couldn't leave my bunk unless I went to the bathroom, and a cop would check on me every 15 minutes or so. Well, they gave me 30 days, and the cop told me, man, you got him good. But the sergeant ended up coming in 5 days later, Chad, and he let me off in 15 days because they reviewed the tape and they seen what he did, and they seen I just defended myself, but they said I defended myself too much. I should have stopped.
Well, listen, I mean, mental health is a serious thing, right? Have you seen some crazy ass dudes in jail and prison?
I've seen some crazy, yeah, absolutely. You see some people where it's scary that you're in a dorm situation, open dorm, like you said, where you're thankful that you're not in a cell with this person. You know, like you can't trust them. They're a lunatic. I've seen crazies that will literally wear the same clothes, not shower, with pee and crap in Nashville. Like they have some, it's different down there, man. I've seen lots of mental health issues where they should have been in hospitals, not in jail.
So you get out of jail in Tennessee. Is that when you decide, you know what, this ain't the place for me? I'm going back home. I'm going to the Jersey Shore.
I came back home because of COVID, but I started thinking about if I stay down here and hang out with the same people, I'm going to get in more trouble. So I was out for about a year before COVID hit, and then I came back to Jersey. Or I might have been, no, I was out about 6 months before COVID hit, and then I came back to Jersey, I think.
Let me ask you this. What's some of the worst things you've seen in Jersey State Prison?
Jersey State Prison, I heard somebody getting raped when I was in craft, central reception and booking or whatever. But when you go there after you leave the county, and then you sit there for a while and wait until they tell you which prison you're going to. I heard someone getting raped a couple cells down. That was terrifying. I seen somebody get hit with boiling water in the face, and it was a black kid, and he ended up looking like a pink hamster, like a baby hamster when they're born. All the melanin came off of his face, and it was nothing but straight pink.
So, like you were saying, man, the dude got, something thrown on him. What they throw on this cat?
He was laying in his bunk, and they heated up honey, Babo or bleach cleaner, sugar, and I think syrup in a bowl with water, and splashed him. And here's the thing: when they put oil and all that stuff that gets thick, he wiped it, and his skin came with it. And it was one of the worst things I've seen. You could smell his burnt skin in the air, mixed with the chemicals. It was horrible. I could still smell something sometimes, and it reminds me of that, and it makes me sick to my stomach.
You don't ever want to live that life ever again. So look, man.
Oh no.
Let me ask you this: you're out of prison. What
Yes,
are you
sir.
doing now? Do you work? What's going on? Tell the people what you're doing with your life now.
Yeah, actually, I work full time. I do marine construction. I work with a kid I grew up with. He has his own business. He actually brought me in, and we've been busy. I've been there for a little over a year now. I don't hang out with the old crowd like I used to. Even when I see people I used to run with in the neighborhood, because I'm back in Jersey, it's just like hey, how you doing? I don't give out numbers. I hang out with very few people, and I usually hang out with my nephew and my little brother and stuff. And I'm actually in a hardcore band. I just rejoined a hardcore band, metal band. So that takes up my free time, I stay out of trouble. I'm too old to be going back to jail. It's not fun, man.
Definitely not a fun place, man. Look, Joe.
No.
I appreciate you coming on, man, sharing your experiences in Jersey, because People need to hear about Jersey. Jersey's a tough place.
Yeah.
Home of the Iceman. And, you know,
Yeah.
the stuff you went through when, you know, you were in Tennessee. But what matters now is that you're free, bro. And I know that when you called me a couple times, you're like, hey, man, I get out of work at this time. We can do the interview. Yesterday, man, we tried to set it up. I went to a hockey game last night with my wife, but I'm glad we were able to set it up, dude. And I'm glad you were able to share your stories and your experiences, bro. And honestly, dude, I can tell you're an intelligent dude, man. You got your whole life ahead of you, man. I hope that you do the right thing. And for real, bro, it's priceless, dude. You know, not making fun of you or nothing, but never in my life have I seen someone's tooth fall out. And I'm sure that the viewers are going to be like, damn. But look, man, it's all good. I'm going to close the show. Is there anything you want to say before we leave? Any message you got to young kids?
Sorry to cut you off, but I just want to let the kids know it doesn't have to be a long bid for you to get in trouble, possibly lose your life, ruin your life, or ruin someone else's. It could be a county bid, and stuff happens to people. It might not even be your fault, but somebody wants to make an example of you because they feel bad about themselves. And also, if I can, I have a couple people that watch your channel that I introduce. I just want to shout them out. There's one of them still down, and he has a little phone, but I won't say the full name. But shout out to John and shout out to Saya. They're people that I've been with that are good people.
No doubt. And you know, that's kind of what...
You, Chad.
Thank you. Joe, listen, that's kind of what your story is about today. I want people to know that. You went to jail, and you could have been home in 1 year. They hit you at the parole board, and you end up stabbed. You end up getting your tooth knocked out. 7 stabs, man, ain't you know, a walk in the park, dude. Your lungs are messed up a little bit, and the cops don't care because they're dealing with an escape. That's more important than whether or not you died, because safety and security of the facility. But again, bro, I appreciate you. I'm going to close the show. Tell people, man, if you like the show and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video. There's a message. Someone needs to hear it. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.